Thabi, thanks for joining us today. Great to have you with us, of course, on an important day for markets here in South Africa and, of course, Nigeria. Let's look at how Dangote Flour Mills fits into Nigerian operations for Tiger Brands right now. Give us your take on the significance of this deal.
This is a particularly very sort of significant deal for us in that clearly it scales up our interest in Nigeria. You'll remember very well that as at today, we currently have two businesses that we have interested in Nigeria. We own 100% of a biscuit business called Daily Foods, and of course have a 49% interest in UAC Foods. So essentially, if you pull all those two businesses together, what the Dangote or what the investment in Dangote Flour Mills does is it significantly uplifts our interests in the FMCG business in Nigeria, and certainly sets us on a path of the kind of growth ambition that we've set for ourselves for Tiger Brands over the next couple of years.
And of course, as the raw material provider in terms of making the foods that you hope to make in Nigeria under the Tiger Brands, under the Tiger Brands brands that you have, of course, this would be a key supplier into the vertically integrated supply chain.
Of course. What you will clearly be aware of is that part of our success in South Africa has been the extent to which we've been able to not only diversify what we offer in the form of flour and the various flour-related derivative products, but over and above that, the extent to which we've been able to forward integrate the creation of value through the establishment of a bakery business in particular, which has been a very successful and certainly holds the #1 position in South Africa. And essentially what we have is a fairly well-honed capability within the kind of milling and baking space that we believe is potentially an exportable competency that we can then take into the Nigerian consumer market.
Tell us about the subsidiaries of Dangote Flour Mills, because it's got 4 milling operations and it's also got subsidiaries. Are these going to be included within the 63% that you own then of Dangote Flour Mills?
Absolutely. So there are essentially 3 subsidiaries that are included in this deal. The one is Dangote Flour, or rather the Dangote pasta business, and of course we've got the Dangote noodles business. But in addition to that, there is a sack business which manufactures polyurethane type bags. That is also part of that entire deal. And of course, the big contributor to the revenue stream of Dangote Flour Mills being the flour business itself.
And of course, one market analyst wanted to know whether the trucks are also going to be included from Dangote Industries. Is this part of the deal as well? Indeed,
they do. They form part of the asset base that will be acquired as part of this deal. And of course, all of those assets will then, will become a very key element of the kind of success that we're hoping to generate out of this investment.
Let's talk about the technicalities of this deal, because now that you've made a 63% offer, you're mandated to make an offer to minorities as a result of owning more than 30% of Dangote Flour Mills. What is the tender offer that you're looking to make on that end?
So what we will do is, once we've got the appropriate or rather the necessary approvals from the SEC, we will then be in a position to communicate exactly what that tender is going to look like to the minorities. But certainly it is our intent to go ahead and offer or rather tender an offer to the minorities to increase our stake in that particular business.
Do you want to keep Dangote Flour Mills listed in terms of owning 80% or less of Dangote Flour Mills? Because if you own more than 80%, it's going to have to delist from the exchange.
We have no intent at this point in time to delist the business. We think that it is strategically still an appropriate thing for us to retain it as a listed entity within the Nigerian market. And so it is not our intent to increase our shareholding in that business to anything above the 80% that is required to retain the listing on the stock exchange.
Of course, that's a big question for Dangote Flour Mills shareholders right now, but able to give us a price tag on this deal? That's what we've all been waiting for.
Indeed, but I think we're not ready to release those details at this point in time. I think the announcement that we made yesterday was essentially to confirm that we have that ourselves and the Dangote Industry Limited have reached an in principle agreement. Now clearly the closure of that transaction is now subject to approval by the SEC of Nigeria. And only when we have such approval will we be in a position then to announce the actual details of the potential transaction that is on the table.
From a Tiger Brands perspective, what does this mean for Tiger Brands, and what does Nigeria hoped to mean for Tiger Brands? You're of course packing bags right now, moving over to Lagos to head up the Nigerian unit. What are the goals that have been put on the table in terms of revenue growth from that end, and how Nigeria is going to fit into the overall Tiger Brands model?
Okay. So Nigeria forms part of the bigger strategic ambition that Tiger has for growing its interests outside of South Africa. And what we have indicated in our strategy is that we would like to see our interests outside of South Africa, and in particular revenues coming out of the rest of the continent, contributing at least 30% of the total revenue of Tiger Brands over the next 3 to 5 years. And Nigeria would certainly become a significant contributor to that overall contribution of the revenue that will be generated from the rest of the continent.
I've got 15 seconds left. Is it time to bed down these acquisitions now, or do you need further acquisitions to cement your growth in Nigeria? We
will continue to look. We haven't, our powder is not dry yet, so we will continue to look to see whether or not and we can't scale up in terms of the opportunities that still sit out there for us.
Well, best of luck in Nigeria, and I'm sure it's going to be a great success. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thabi Segoale, the CEO of Tiger Brands Nigeria.